Hey everyone, welcome to Brands and Empires. My name is Richard Shannon, and today I'm going to share with you how I made $98,107 in my first year selling apparel on Etsy. Now, this video is going to be a little different than some of the other ones that I've seen in preparation for making this video. If you're new to the channel, I've been in the apparel decorating industry for over 10 years, but most of my experience is on the wholesale side, working with customers buying in bulk for their own brands. So in many ways, we've had tons of practice, but this was really the first proof that we had the capability of originating an idea and coming up with a game plan to execute on it for ourselves. And in hindsight, I'm thinking I should have done this years ago because there's so much more profit in creating a retail brand for yourself. Before we go any further, let's talk about the specific numbers. In the first 365 days, April 18th, 2020 through April 18th, 2021, we did $98,107. In March, we did $17,224, which shows you that we are on track to do, I think, around 208,000 if we were to just flatline. But month over month, we're growing pretty quickly. And I think with our new design and marketing push, it's conservative to think that we're going to hit somewhere between $300,000 and $350,000 year two. And that's with a 34% profit margin, which I think is exceptional. That's after we pay for our apparel, after we pay for the printing on it. That includes Etsy fees, transaction fees, shipping, and marketing, all of it. Everything included, 34 cents on the dollar is after expense profit. Now, one of the big advantages that we have in making our business so profitable is that in January of 2020, I got an iColor 800W, which is a white toner laser transfer printer for my regular printing business. Originally, I thought that it would be great for filling in the gaps. Anybody who wanted to order less than 24 pieces, I could service a reorder or an update or fix mistakes on the 800W in between running, large jobs on our automatic screen printing press. I didn't really think at the time that 4 months later we were going to be jumping into our own retail side, but it ended up being a perfect fit, especially after the world kind of went on lockdown. One of the big advantages of something like our 800W or a DTG is the fact that we don't have to hold any kind of inventory. We just produce what we need for the orders of the day, and we're just holding blank shirts and enough raw materials to produce those. If we had to run this through a fulfillment company, that's a ton of money that's just off the table, letting somebody else produce this stuff for us. If we had to run it through traditional screen printing, then that means you've got to produce enough to make it worth your while to set up all of the screens. Or if you're buying in transfers, you still have to inventory those transfers. And when you launch a dozen designs at a time, that's a lot of upfront cost if you don't have the ability to just print as you go on demand. All right, so that's kind of everything that laid the groundwork, but how do you actually get started? The first thing we did was, instead of approaching this like the vast majority of new brands do, where they come up with this really cool brand concept and it's super clever and their logo is awesome and they've got this really great social message. And then once they've pulled their initial launch pieces together, they go to their 500 follower Instagram and they try to push it out and go big, and nobody cares, right? They sell to their friends or their family and they sell like 7 or 8 pieces, and the brand just kind of fades away because it's just so much work to launch this huge mission-focused brand when nobody really cares and they're not in the market to buy that specific thing. Instead, if you're really looking to make an income, you need to go to where the buyers are. You need to find a topic or something that is already in demand. There's a high volume of people and eyes in that direction. Masks were a great example, right? Last year, if you were one of the people that had a sewing machine and could grab some fabric and produce a mask, you were in business overnight. Well, that same kind of concept, but applied to graphics t-shirts. If you go find a target market that is already buying a lot, and then you can bring something unique to the table, you've got yourself a winner. And that's what we did. We were able to leverage our printer that produces full color designs one at a time and enter into a target market that's being serviced by people using their Cricuts to produce 1, maybe 2 color designs, or they're using their screen printing press to run very simple prints, and we can blow them out of the water with creativity. So you find that high traffic target market, you find an area where you can bring a unique selling proposition to the table. In our case, it was design creativity in an underserviced market, and then you blow them out of the water with that. So I'm kind of covering the next point, which is how we approach designs. When we started with a dozen designs. We researched the target market. We saw what was out there, what was already, in the market, the sayings, the catchphrases, the look, everything that was out there. And we said, okay, what did they do? And did they miss something? Is there a trend or direction that we can kind of see that's coming up on the horizon? Is vintage coming into style? Is it going to be tie-dye? What is it that is on the horizon in terms of Instagram? Can that be applied to this target market? Will they respond to it? And then what are they currently doing? And how could we take what they've got and make it 5 times better? And that's what we did. We spent 3 weeks working on 12 designs, which maybe it's risky, maybe it's not. But those designs that we produced, those 12 full color, really cool designs, produced $800 in the first 12 days. It was April 18th through the end of the month. We think we did $850, $880 in the first several days. So it immediately hit the ground with traction, and that's just with Etsy with a couple dollar marketing budget at first. We didn't scale our marketing budget until down the road. Now, to top that off, we knew we needed to stand out in several ways. So that came down to product photography. Now, I, of course, have a DSLR that I film with, and we leverage that along with some of the studio lights to create some really cool actual product photography. Now, when everybody else is using mock-ups and you come to the table with product photography, now you've got a little something to put you over the edge. At the same time, you have to make sure that it fits, and Etsy has a certain look and feel to all of their stuff that you have to somewhat conform to so that you don't catch people's eye in the wrong way and just kind of go unnoticed. Now, the next thing was keywords. You have to make sure that while you're doing your market research and you're finding your target market, you're hitting the keywords that people are actually searching for. Now, there are tools available online that allow you to do that. We found a couple that allowed us to reverse engineer some of the keywords that people were using on Etsy for their designs, and we applied those to ours. The title keywords are important, but in the description, that's where you kind of flesh things out. You're telling people what material that you're printing on, you're explaining the process to them, you're kind of going into more detail and allowing people who are looking at the shirts on screen to also tie that to a real person. And we did that. We used the descriptions to kind of tell a story about who we were and why we're different and what we bring to the table that's extra. Now, of course, after the first 12 designs were out, that initial success of seeing, $800, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 fueled the excitement to continue on. So our second goal was to get to 100 designs. It's not just getting the number of designs out there. I see a lot of people say, you've got to get 100 designs because once you get 100 designs, it's like this magical thing happens. It's not like that at all. If you put 100 crummy designs out there, you may never get your first sale. You have to put targeted designs out there, and you have to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward, even if it takes 5-10 hours per design. If you're new to Photoshop or Illustrator and you're trying to put a design together, you're overcoming your inability to design in the first place. So taking all of the experience that we had, putting 6-7 hours into a single design, and then that translates into 80-90 hours of design time for the initial 12. That was the approach that we took. Put our best foot forward, because if we do it for our customers, let's do it this time for ourselves. Getting to the 100 designs, though, to get back on track, we wanted to use each of those designs, and it wasn't just designs, it was products, really. We wanted to use each of the products as an experiment. And we did hoodies, we did sweatshirts, we did t-shirts. We tried adding different colors, we tried variation. We tried importing products from overseas using Alibaba. And each of these things taught us something. We learned a lot about working with some of the trade brokers overseas and the translators, and doing a lot of business at midnight. And I'll probably create a separate video about what I learned working with overseas sources. It was good for us to split test. If we log X number of hours and spend X number of dollars, what's the ROI we can expect? And that leads us to the marketing budget. Now, when we started marketing, we initially just kind of shotgunned everything, right? We tried marketing absolutely every design, and it became pretty clear pretty quickly that some designs were just going to be really terrible performers. Even if they sold well, if you're spending 50% of the value of the item on marketing, you could just be spinning your wheels. So we had to make sure that every item we sold made at least triple back. On the marketing side, we had to make triple our money on every design, and we had to be quick about killing off designs that were underperforming, because it's very easy to end up $50, $60, $100 upside down marketing items that just aren't worth marketing. Something that I noticed, I think a lot of people use ad blockers and cookie blockers, because when we increase our marketing budget on Etsy, sometimes we'll start making additional sales that aren't attributed to Etsy ad clicks directly. It seems like if we slow our marketing budget down, so say right now we've got a $525 a day budget, we only spend $80 or $100. But if we drop our budget down to $20 or $30 and we were spending 80 or 90, we notice that the organic traffic slows down in proportion to how we slow down our ad spend. Now, whether that's because Etsy prioritizes people that are paying them for marketing or whether it's people who are using ad blockers, I can't really say. But I will say that you got to spend money to make money, but you have to be very careful about where that ad spend is going because you don't really have a whole lot of control over placement or anything like that. You just kind of throw it into the wind and say, okay, you can advertise these 10 out of our 100 listings, and that's it. It's very hands-off, which can be difficult when you're working with Etsy versus Shopify, Facebook ads, and Google ads. And that'll be a whole separate video. I noticed that our max marketing budget was a huge limiting factor for us. We had one month in particular where there was a really cool design that performed disproportionately well. But because we were bumping up against our max ad spend, I think it was $75 a day limit at the time, as soon as we hit that ad spend, it was like our sales came to a complete stop and there was nothing we could do to jump that ad spend up. So it was almost like Etsy had a limiter on there that said, look, you're only going to grow so big so fast. And we've noticed that it's anytime we get a surge in sales, it's almost like Etsy holds back and says, all right, let's see how you do on those. Do you maintain 5-star reviews? Are you shipping on time? Is everything coming through all right? Okay. In 30 days, we're going to allow you to get 25 or 30% bigger. So if you look month 1 in April, it was only a partial month. We did $800. Months 2, 3, 4, we ended up with a growing volume, and then we had a spike in June or July. We had a spike, and we tapered off a little bit, in the next month or two, but it was almost like our baseline had risen because of that spike. What I found is we want to max out our marketing budget so that if and when we have a winning design that sells disproportionately well, we can ride that wave with Etsy. And then we want to make sure that if and when at all possible, we're pushing that growth curve as hard as we can, because it's very much like Etsy allows you to increase your viewership very incrementally. No matter what you do, they're only going to trust you with an additional 5, 10, 15% month over month versus the previous month, unless you have just some breakout that does exceptionally well. So when you're growing your business, realize this is going to be kind of a long-term proposition. You're probably only going to see whatever you can hit the ground running with. Then you're going to be on a incremental path where you're growing month over month 20, 30, 40, 50% at most. You can't just overnight hit the ground running. Okay, the 80-20 rule. This exists in every business, but the 80-20 rule definitely applies here on Etsy as well. A handful of your designs are going to make you the vast majority of your money, and then the rest of them are just going to fill in the gaps. In fact, the majority of our money, or more than half of our money, is earned from just a very small number of designs. And then everything that flows in after that is made up, $100 a month from this design, 200 from that, 500 from this one. And all of those fill in the gaps and they flesh out and they strengthen our base of income. So if one of our top performing designs does half as well one month for whatever reason, having a broad base of designs across a very narrow but more than one target market helps you even that curve out, so that if a certain type of buyer is not buying in one market, having 2 or 3 non-overlapping markets definitely helps you shore up that income so that you're always hitting somebody who's in the market to buy. Saying that a different way, I would not hesitate to spend 40, 50 hours on another batch of designs, knowing that any of those designs are probably only going to sell anywhere from 1 to 5 a piece per month, because every single design that you add that sells 1 a month, 2 a month, 4 a month, 5 a month, that's adding to your baseline income. And sometimes you just have to go wide, hoping to find that 1, 2, 3, 4 additional designs that are just going to go really tall, right? And enjoy the small wins. Once you've got your base of income growing from existing designs, it's almost like royalties. The past wins that are ongoing successes are now building your base of income to subsidize your experimenting as you move forward. The second to last thing is to stay focused on the details. Something as simple as a shipping bag for us made a pretty substantial difference in the way people wrote about us in our reviews. We decided to try to upgrade our bags from the gray and black poly mailer bags. Just a simple switch from a gray or black poly mailer bag to a brightly colored bag where we started putting logos on it, whether it was a sticker adhesive logo or we printed on it. By putting that extra effort into the packaging, it was incredible. We were already averaging something like 4.9 or 4.95 stars, but when people would write a review in. They would give us, 5 stars, but then sometimes they would nitpick on something about the package or something about the fabric or whatever. But as soon as we made that switch from gray and black bags over to the colorful bags, and then we also added a thank you card with wash instructions, as well as like freebies, something like a sticker, the entire tone changed. You could tell that the perceived value of what these people had received skyrocketed. It was almost like they went from a Wish.com purchase that came in a dirty bag to an event. It was almost like we brought the destination to them in the form of this delivered item that they got. And I thought that was really interesting, that a 20-cent change in packaging could make a difference in getting repeat orders in very highly suggested reviews. So definitely when you're looking at what can you do to stand out from other Etsy sellers or other sellers in general, look at your packaging. Look for ways to improve the overall experience of your customers. And, I just said it a little bit ago, but stickers, for instance, if somebody ordered more than one t-shirt, we would be sure to include a little freebie in there. What's a 40 or 50 cent sticker for us if we paid once to get that ad spend to convert the sale, and now we've got 2, 3, 4, 5 shirts sold in a single order? Yeah, you better believe we're going to put a couple stickers in there. They're going to feel super excited because, of course, you offer the stickers for sale on the site, whether or not they sell individually. If you've got a $5 sticker on your site and now you've thrown 3 of them in there, you've just given them $15. And it's interesting because you'll pick up sticker sales if you sell stickers here and there, but the perceived value and the added customer experience of including one of those stickers just means the world, and your cost out of pocket is negligible. At the end of the day, you want to focus on aiming for high reviews. If you can hit a 5-star or a near 5-star review almost every time, that's what you have to go for. And of course, that seems cliche, right? There are several factors that go into it. It's the quality of your artwork. You want to pick a good quality garment, like Bella Canvas, or a tier 2 would be American Apparel or Next Level Apparel, something like that. But a top tier garment, a good design, packaged well, shipped promptly, that's going to make a world of difference. And part of that, fulfilling through another company, if they're giving you a 12-day lead time on a dropship shirt, that's not going to be great. If you're able to get something in the mail the next day, that is very noticeable to a buyer, especially in the culture of Amazon Prime shipping that's going to be here tomorrow or at latest 48 hours out. If you can be that person that delivers a shirt in the mail and it gets to them within a reasonable time frame of 2 or 3 days, that's going to get repeat buyers. That's going to get noticed. So the last thing is customer service. Don't be a pushover out of fear. We've bumped into several customers who they bought a t-shirt or they bought some kind of item from us and they decided that they didn't want it, and they come up with all these excuses, oh, it doesn't fit, it doesn't this, it doesn't that, and you can smell it when the messages start coming in. There's all of these problems out of nowhere, and then they're leading you to the water where they want a refund or they want a replacement and a refund, or who knows. Our policy is no refunds. If it's broken, we'll fix it. And it's funny because most people won't outright destroy the shirt. They'll just come up with a bunch of nitpicky, sometimes fake issues with it, and they kind of want you to give them a refund or return or pay for return shipping. And we just tell them no. A lot of times we tell them no. And especially if they're trying to blackmail a 1-star review, well, we don't negotiate with terrorists. If somebody wants to threaten a 1-star review, hey buddy, go for it. We'll take the 1 star on the chin. It doesn't happen very often, but if you're gonna threaten us over it and try to do a 1 star, forget it. Don't do that. Don't buy into that. But that's also empowering. Yes, a 1-star review stinks. You're not going to have them very often if you're doing everything else right, but occasionally they are going to come in. And, especially I love when they write 2 or 3 paragraphs and they just pull it out of their ear, because then you get a chance to respond to them and just point out all of the reasons why it wasn't accurate, and then also leave it with we're happy to resolve this, over messages kind of follow up. But then that's it. The last thing is, though, by putting yourself in the driver's seat, not giving in to people who are takers, it puts you in the driver's seat to be a giver, right? So you're able to now choose when you want to go the extra mile for someone who's a good customer, because you haven't spent a bunch of money bleeding out for people who are bad customers. So we've done $40 overnight shipping to make sure that somebody has an item right before they go on vacation or right before they're leaving the country. And we've replaced shirts out of pocket. If somebody's telling us about their situation, they're so thrilled that they got something, we've given them extra shirts. We can read between the lines. We see that somebody else loves it, whatever. We've done extra nice things on our terms, when we feel comfortable with it. And I think that's something that is really empowering. I see a lot of fearful Etsy sellers where they're terrified of getting a bad review from anybody for any reason. And it's created this culture of certain people know that they pick up on it and they're takers, they're going to grab something from you. And so we don't buy into that. But at the same time, I firmly believe in going the extra mile for people as often as you can. And having a profitable business it allows you to do things like that for customers. That's it. If you focus on the customer experience and you focus on truly giving people a quality product, you are going to win in the end. And a quality product comes down to getting in front of the right people who are trying to buy something and doing something special and unique and creative on their behalf. I hope this video has been helpful. This is one that I've been wanting to do for a while. The dealership took off like wildfire. It's going nuts right now. And I had to step away from YouTube, of all things, because for the past 6 months I've been sequestered away. I filmed like 56 videos for the White Toner Masterclass, and I'll put the link in the description below. But there was a lack of training for the White Toner laser transfer printer platform, like the printer I have behind me, the iColor 800s and the 600s and all the Okies and everything. So I created a 7-hour training course, and now it's the official course, and it's going wide, and people are starting to use it and make money. So I'm excited about that. But man, it took me out of the running for YouTube, and I had to really slow down the marketing approach for the dealership, even though it's been going gangbusters. And, between it all, I couldn't juggle everything. So I actually slowed down our print shop and I slowed down YouTube so that I could keep the Etsy that's exploding going, so that I could keep the project on track for the White Toner Masterclass, and so I could focus on the dealership because the volume it justified it. So anyways, I appreciate you guys tuning back in and look forward to a lot more videos because I can't wait to see you in the next one.